quite catastrophic and colossal, really. This is our 8th failed wet season. In the 8 years we've destocked. We're nearly at our 3rd time completely destocking. Oh, yeah, good helping.
Graziers Amanda and Hugh Button took over the family farm north of Longreach in the midst of drought.
Is it clean? Dirty. We need to clean it. Righto, Dad, have a go. Dad, finish it.
These kids have very rarely seen a rainfall. By the time they get their raincoats on and run out in the rain, it's over.
The skies opened for many of Australia's farmers during January and February, mainly across New South Wales. But others missed out.
We're still drought declared out here, unfortunately, and I mean it's the rainfall has been so narrow and so patchy. You know, some people have had great rain, but there are a lot of people who've still missed out.
How's he gone? He's dumped it already.
It means destocking and trucking in hay to get through the dry season, which started on Friday.
There's been significant rainfall throughout large portions of eastern Australia that have been in very severe drought for the last few years. As always, however, Australia's a big continent and there are parts of Australia that haven't received those really useful rains.
Sounds like everyone's had wonderful rain, the drought's over and everyone's back in full production, but unfortunately it's not the case.
Farmer Peter Mailer at Gundawindi near the New South Wales border got some rain earlier in the year, enough to get a crop in.
So I'm standing in the bottom of the Whalen Creek, just to highlight that we haven't had enough rain in this part of the world to run water down these creeks. So there's been good rain about, but it's been very patchy and the drought's definitely not broken.
Farmers worry talk of the drought breaking, as well as the COVID-19 crisis, could distract the federal government from announcing a long-awaited national drought policy. They want a coordinated strategy between the states and federal government that would help them prepare for drought in good years and to manage it better when it hits.
I'm absolutely terrified that the government is going to think that they can deal with COVID-19 and maintain the dialogue around that and not do anything about drought.
Drought hasn't finished. It normally takes 2 or 3 average years for farmers' cash flows to recover, but we're continuing to work with them.
Usually Peter employs a full-time worker in the busy years and a few casuals. But in drought, he can't afford it, and that meant laying off staff.
I think that, some of the stimulus that's been rolled out for COVID-19 to me is quite interesting. I mean, easy access to welfare support as it's been provided through COVID-19 hasn't been reflected in drought policy for Australia.
It's an idea he would like to see carried over to drought planning policy.
The JobKeeper program that was rolled out in response to COVID-19 needs to be front and centre for drought responses or for flood responses or for bushfire responses for small business to keep people employed in their communities.
Since the election, the federal government has spent more than $1 billion on drought support, with another $7 billion committed. Farmers have watched as the government has pledged $320 billion in response to coronavirus.
The benefit of the coronavirus packages that have been released now is it has really realised how important it is to support the economy of a community, to maintain communities. Now, that's been one of the things that rural communities have been calling out for some time in terms of the drought response.
I don't agree with that at all. There's just under 90,000 Australian farmers out there. We've committed over $8.5 billion. For 25 million people, we put $320 billion out, but some of that money crosses over into these drought communities as well. So drought communities have had a double lick. And we unashamedly don't apologise for that.
Back on Crossmoor Station, Amanda Button says living through the drought has helped her stay calm amidst the coronavirus pandemic. Drought, like a pandemic, is out of her control, with no end on the horizon.
We love where we live, we love what we do, after being in a struggle for 8 years, you start to wonder whether or not it's sustainable for the future and for their future. I think it will be. I think hopefully Australia's learning from this pandemic. Australia's learning from this drought, and this 8-year drought, and hopefully the future will bring for our children more understanding.